before coming here this morning when I woke up and I had an idea that I would be speaking something here, I should thank Deepak because he had sent an agenda and I looked at the agenda and I said that it talks something about simplifying technology for education, for schools and colleges. And that is where my thoughts suddenly went back 20 years in time when I was in school. And I had a physics teacher, fortunately or unfortunately, who used to be also the principal of my school. So you imagine, listening to his lectures were mandatory. You couldn't skip his classes, and you had to be there whether you like it or not. And he was a teacher who believed in very involved, communicative way of interaction. He kept us on our toes by firing questions out of the blue, and at the same time made sure that we never breathed easy till the class bell rang. I somehow was always a soft target for him. I always knew that the first question of the day would be fired on me. It made me uneasy, but it gave a beautiful insight into physics and the love for physics which has remained with me till date. Now you might be asking why today afternoon on an ICT event I'm remembering those 20 years back story. There's a reason for it. The simple reason is that when that moment 20 years back, when I saw in that school principal into his eye and tried to answer questions, that was the day when I realized that an interactive, communicative way of education has so much more to give to us than a normal textbook education which happens all the way in India. And that is where, interestingly, I have been given this dais to talk about my product or corporate, but I want to go a bit further than that, because what struck me today when I thought about those 20 years back idea, it became very relevant to me that how exchange of information, exchange of communication is the way to go for all educational institutes. And that's why today when I'm speaking to you, I'm trying to get myself organized on three very basic questions. That why ICT in education, what all in ICT in education, and how ICT in education. I believe these are three critical questions to be answered. And probably in these answers lie the path to the way to which educational institutes should be going. Now, probably sometime back in the afternoon, I was talking to Satinder, and she was trying to throw some questions to me and answer and trying to do a video recording with me. And she even asked me that, Saket, why do you think ICT is important in education? So the very first thought which came to me that when I look at the young generation today, they are miles ahead of us in understanding technology and using that technology. Today I have seen a 2-year kid, a 3-year kid who can identify a game on iPad. I have seen a 4-year kid, a 5-year kid who is much more at ease in using any device, be it iPhone, Android, than any of us. And this really raises the bar for us. This really has to make us think that are we using the right mode of technology to educate them? And not only that, is our attitude right? And why I really here stress on the fact attitude, because I believe that today there is no teacher and no student. There is no one-way flow of information. Because if you today walk into a class, you will be pleasantly surprised that many times you will realize that the kid who is probably 20 years younger to you, 30 years younger to you, knows much more about this world than you do. So it becomes of prime importance for teachers to adapt to those technologies, go to the class, and get indulged in a collaborative learning mode. Now that collaboration, whether it happens the way my teacher did 20 years back, or whether it happens in the new digital media, it has to be taken as it is. Because I believe for something whose time has come, you cannot prevent it to happen. And I've heard people, some people who say that this is not good or Android is not good, our kids are getting too much information, this information has to be curtailed. I am very sure this is not going to help any one of us. And that is why I believe that it is so important that today's generation of teachers try to connect to today's generation of students, be it Facebook, be it Twitter, be it LinkedIn. You need to be there. If you are not there, your students are not going to remember you the same way as I remember my teacher probably 20 years back. And that is the essence of it, that ICT has to be in education for all senses, be it the collaboration which happens inside the classroom or whether the communication which happens with the stakeholders outside and inside the campus. And on this note, I believe that what has also made me think that what all, it is very important to think when we say ICT, it's a very, very huge information and communication in itself touches so many different paradigms. And being a school, it might become very easy for us to get lost from where to start or how much to start. And that is where I believe that my idea is that your approach to start with has to be very simple. It might start with a very small initiative of having a Facebook page for each department, each class, each subject, where teachers can come, collaborate, where students can come, post their queries. Why not about an interesting Twitter handle, where your teachers can keep posting interesting tweets and your students can keep answering, keep responding to those interesting tweets, trying to be having a one-man ship up within the whole class or bunch of those students who are there, so that they genuinely get connected to your teachers, your classrooms. If that initiative really takes off, then it is time to look at the broader initiatives, which I believe can lead to something which is a digital platform for collaborative education, or it might be something to do with your campus management. So you need to then start thinking of all other tools which can take you to the next level of collaboration. The next level of collaboration, I believe, certainly should involve all the stakeholders, be it the teacher, be it the students, be it your administrators, be your staff members, where all of them can come, create content, get content from outside, post their own content, and create a very custom solution for your own administrative purposes, for your own educational purposes. And this is where I would like to extend my thoughts a bit more, that when we see there are two perspectives to ICT. One perspective is what happens inside the classroom, where you collaborate on a digital platform, on different new technologies coming up, whether it's an Android tablet, whether it's mobile phones. But the second piece of it is communication, that how does a campus today communicate with all the other stakeholders who might be outside the campus. It might, and there are certain points which I will like to cover, it might be related to a very, very basic need of a help desk for your educational institute or your campus. Today, if I see, And if I want to figure out for an institute that what is that one place where I can get all the information, whether it is about a course material, whether it is about an admission date, whether it is about a session starting, whether it is about an event happening inside that institute. Today, I believe that most campuses fail to communicate that information seamlessly on one platform. This is where I believe educational institutes can do much better, because they can look at technologies. They should not only, and as I say, whenever you look at technology, technology is not the end. You also have to look at your attitude. So I see more and more educational institutes becoming or acting as a service provider, because they are some kind of services which they are offering. So there has to be a seamless communication of those services to all the stakeholders who are available. If you see some of the points which are there on my slide, you will see some of the items like contact center solution, or a missed call platform, or a IVR, or an Android-based application. What all do they mean? When these items put in right perspective, for example, we have been for long working with an institute who has been looking to set up a central help desk where, trying to say that today we have institutes who work and who have worked with us and who have been trying to innovate on platforms which can give them that extra edge on communication. So we have places where we have implemented help desk solutions which really give all the stakeholders, be it the parents, be it the students, staff members, who know that there is a single point of contact where you can call in and can get all the information which you need, whether you want to inquire about a course material or a fee structure or when your session starts. And this also helps the institutes in making sure that all the queries which land to their help desk are really answered. Because today you don't know. If 10 people queried, probably you answered 3 of them, 7 just went without any information. And that doesn't suffice well for you as an organization. That's why I said that you have to act like a service provider and believe that you are offering services, and there are service level agreements which you should adhere to. So if there's a query which has come in, there should be a standard turnaround time to answer that query. And from that perspective, I believe that this is where communication and putting up a system for communication becomes a key for all the educational institutes. We have also, over this journey with different institutes, have been trying to do something which we, although might look more as a marketing tool, but something interesting like a missed call platform. So we said that why not students or parents or prospects register for any event giving us a missed call on that number. So it becomes very easy for you to capture leads and later call them back to give more information about your school. We also looked at something like a robocall solution. So we realized with institutes that certain institutes, when exam results are announced, then it becomes critical for many of the stakeholders, like parents especially, to get that result as quickly as possible. And that is where we innovated, saying that we can have an automated system where the system can call out to all those parents, automatically announce the results of their kids. So that makes it much more proactive than to teach your parents struggling to log on to the website, trying to fetch the result, website not working. So those are the critical information which can be decimated with lot of ease using such form of technologies. This information about how technology should be used, I believe, is only one paradigm at which we are looking. Because when I was brooding on this point, that how this ICT is relevant to education, one thing which came very clearly to me, that it is very important for us to realize that how that ICT can be brought to educational institute. Because as I understand from whatever is around me and whatever educational institutes I know, that today there is not a clear-cut IT policy which is relevant to the educational institutes, and there is no clear-cut IT team inside the educational institute who can drive such ICT mechanisms or this kind of ICT policies inside the classes. So my understanding when I was coming to this event, I thought that WAR has given us a wonderful platform, and this kind of platform should be extended, where I see all the stakeholders on the side from education and all the stakeholders from the technology have to come together, join hands, and look at newer ways of innovating technology. That old way of doing business, where technology companies are a vendor and educational institutes are a buyer, has to go away. It just cannot continue on those lines that I keep coming here and trying to sell you something and you are forced to buy something from me. Because that model is today totally out of, not only in education, but I believe in every other field that we work. The need is for a very customized solution. And that is where I believe that today companies like us and educational institutes like you, irrespective of whatever product we have, we should have that eagerness to sit with you, talk to you, understand your requirements, and then build a solution around this product. And why I say this, because we recently were working with NIIT Limited. And NIIT had a very interesting problem which they gave to us. They said that we know your product can do an automated calling, your product can integrate my existing applications, but you have to first listen that I am already using those products, but still I have a problem. And that is where we went in as a consultant. We said, okay, first you define your problem area, and that is when they defined the problem area. They said that they have 300 web properties across, where during the different courses that are launched or different admissions process that are launched, they generate lot of leads which come in. Those leads which come in today are lost in the process of getting downloaded in an Excel format somewhere and getting uploaded to another system in an Excel format. So the lead leakage is so high that at least 30% of the lead is already lost by the time you try to contact the potential candidate. That is where we understood NIT's pain point, and what we did, that our entire solution, the entire C-Zentrix intelligent platform was integrated with their existing lead management system. So what it helped, that today in NIIT, any lead which drops in any corner of the country is guaranteed to be called out within 5 minutes and connected to the counselor sitting in NIIT. That kind of turnaround time, which was earlier 3 to 7 days, to be reduced to 5 to 15 minutes, has totally changed the way today they are aggressively able to go into the market, get the students enrolled, get them interested in their courses. What I understand, whatever was my last feedback with them, they have gone from a closure rate of 5% to 20% in last 3 months, just because of the quickness of the lead falling in and getting connected to their help desk. So this is just one example. The example was meant to understand that there was no fun in us going with a product and trying to sell that product to them. The fun was in sitting with those stakeholders inside that educational institute, trying to understand what is their problem, and then trying to build a solution around our product which could bridge that gap. And that is what I have been insisting, that it is time for educational institutes and people like us to sit across the table, understand their pain points, and give very custom application. Even it might be our product, but a very custom application built around that product. On the last piece of it, which is more away from what product or solution does, but it has been a thought on my mind that I believe the time has come for all educational institutes to look for a full-fledged IT team in-house with a CIO in place. Because you need to have somebody at the helm of your technology who can drive technology, understand your requirement, sit with your staff member, sit with your students, sit with your parents, with the and all other stakeholders, and try to create a very custom application which suits your institution. So more and more educational institutes, I believe, if they can work in tandem with technology company, have real strength of technology team inside in-house, and have a chief information officer who can drive that technology, it will only help to bridge that digital gap, which is right now where the technology has moved, where the students have moved, and where the teachers have moved. So I believe these some of the key elements which we can talk further beyond this speech. We have a stall here, which is C-Zentrix Intelligent. So some of the items and customizations which we have done for, and that's why our target was not to come here and give you a lot of information. Rather, it is the reverse. We want you to come down and share a lot of information based on which we can offer and really work on a very custom application for you. This is where I would like to say that it has been a great pleasure for me. I'm thankful to Deepak and his team and Momita for introducing me, that we are really happy to be here. And I believe that this initiative of you, Deepak, will go in a long way in building this bridge which I'm talking about. That more and more if educational institutes and technology companies like us can come together, then it can really give birth to some of very innovative solutions and products which can come out of India. Today we are a copycat. We try to copy a lot of things from outside, but such kind of collaboration can really bring all of us together to create something which is very Indian in nature. So thanks to you for having us here. I'm really thankful.